Hello and welcome to Winter Grace Senior Ministries. I am Debbie Bergio. As a career Navy wife, I know about moving, and that is one of the biggest decisions we can make in our lives. Fortunately, we are joined today by Karol Hess, who has a long history of being a realtor in our local area. Karol, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you. I greatly appreciate the opportunity, one that I haven't had before.
Oh, well, good. I'm excited.
Using this system of Zoom.
Creativity is what we have to being creative these days.
That is right. It's called COVID-19 creativity.
Sounds good to me.
For
So I
sure.
know there's a stress scale. I can't remember the name of it right now, but I know moving is one of those
Big
highest
stresses.
on that stress scale. So
Right.
how did you become involved in real estate? What made you decide this was where you wanted to be?
Wow. Well, it's been a while since I started, but I had a friend who had a real estate company. Was my first opportunity to get involved with real estate was as a receptionist in a real estate office in downtown Columbia. And then 1 or 2 days later, I knew I wanted to get my license, which
Oh,
I
wow.
ultimately did. Yes, it was just much more fun doing that than sitting at a desk. But that's okay. It got me started. And so for a few years, I worked with buyers and sellers. And in Howard County, Frederick, I'm from Frederick originally, Carroll County, Baltimore County. Have stayed out of Baltimore City, and then Anne Arundel County and northern Montgomery County. So that takes up a pretty large area, and I've
It
had the
does.
opportunity to work in all of those areas, including across the Bay Bridge and into Ocean City. But
Oh, my favorite
I,
place.
right, it is fun. Good excuse to get away. At any rate, one of the things that I thoroughly enjoyed doing when I was the listing agent on a property was preparing for the appraiser, which required getting into the background of that property, the location, the properties that have sold in the area that are comparable to that house, and was given an opportunity to train as an appraiser,
Oh,
which I loved as well. I really did like getting into the backstory and making it happen, and sometimes not. So for 25 years, I basically did only appraisal work. I had continued to hold on to my salesman's license. And whenever I had someone needing assistance, I would refer them to an agent that I felt confident could handle the job. And then in that industry, the appraisal industry truly changed dramatically getting into the 90s.
hmm.
And we had to be licensed by the state of Maryland, which I was licensed the first round. And then it was a strange time to get even appraisal assignments. I was doing FHA, VA, conventional appraisals. And then in the 90s, when there were some significant changes to who and what you did, I just did relocation appraisals, working for relocation companies when they had someone moving into the area
Oh, okay.
or moving out of the area. And that kept me quite busy, and I even loved that more because just the preparing the report was probably a 15-hour job. And
Wow.
that meant you got into it deeply. I still think I would love to maybe do that again, but not right now. So I have been in basically doing appraisals in the same areas, but primarily Howard County. My sphere of influence is probably more uh, 55 and over,
Okay.
although oftentimes I am helping out the second generation and now some third generations, and that's lots of fun as well. It really is.
Oh, good.
I would say most of my business comes from people that know me.
Hmm.
not so much just off of Zillow or it's the internet, I guess is what I really mean to say. So
Well,
anyway,
referrals and word of mouth is the highest form of compliment.
absolutely, totally, and we really do rely on that heavily. And during all of this period of time, I have been able to get certifications to enlarge my knowledge. A couple of really important ones are CRS, which is Certified Residential Specialist, a tough designation to get. It usually takes several years, and that's been a very good opportunity for me. And I have military designations and others, but knowing people and being
Knowing
there
people, sure.
and uh, being willing to help them, to just talk. My goal is to find out how I can assist them in what they want to do. I do not sell houses. I assist the seller, or I don't buy houses. I assist the buyer. And that's an important thing for that. There is a funny chart that I think about pretty often. There are probably 185 tasks that an agent will do when you're a listing agent.
Wow.
That's a very long, accurate list. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're busy all the time when we're listing property for
I
sure.
bet.
Absolutely. And recently I'm so proud of this that I was given the Realtor Emeritus designation from the National Association of Realtors, which I thought, wow, I'm really happy about that.
Well,
That means that I have
congratulations.
been working in the business for 40 years
Oh,
and
my,
have
okay.
contributed to the community and the industry itself. And so I'm very happy about that.
So
Yeah.
when you go to work with a buyer, say, or a seller, where do you start? What you don't need to go through all 185 steps. I just,
I don't plan on
but what, where do you begin when you start working with someone new?
The first thing I do is talk with them,
Mm-hmm.
listen to them. I prefer to meet at my office, which is in downtown Columbia, and we spend as long as necessary with me asking a lot of questions. What they want, what they need, what they can do, what they can't do, what do they have to fix. So, a lot of people, especially first-time home buyers, sometimes need to work on their credit. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's important to help them do whatever they need to do. I don't do that part. I have loan officers that I have great confidence in the area that I will refer them to. But I would say the first time around, I'm spending a couple of hours with
Okay.
getting information from the buyer. Same for the seller, because sometimes when I'm working with somebody who's trying to decide on transitioning
Mm-hmm.
to a Charlestown or a Vantage Point, CCRC, it could take a couple of years to get through that process.
Sure.
And I'm ready for that. That doesn't bother me at all. I heard a realtor of a lot of experience say to a client that he doesn't want to work with, I shouldn't have said he, but I gave it away. He didn't want to work with anybody who wasn't going to move or buy or within 6 months.
Oh,
I don't do that. That's not my my way of working. I think there are many people who just need to work through a lot of emotions in making the decision. And then there are
mm-hmm.
those who have to do it within a weekend.
Yep.
We have to be prepared for any of those
Mm-hmm.
scenarios. I think that's part of what keeps this industry so interesting and not necessarily fun, but different.
Sure, sure.
And you never know what's coming around the corner, which with one transaction or another. So every transaction is different.
Absolutely. I'm sure. I know the different transactions we've been involved with in our Navy moving.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of those has been different, and I
Sure.
can't imagine everyone you deal with is different.
Absolutely. Yeah. But it's a wonderful industry.
Well, that's great. So,
Yeah.
um, so that is definitely something that might set you apart. Is you really work at developing a relationship and understanding
Right.
your client,
I do, very much
in
so.
addition to checking
Yeah.
off those 185. That's
Exactly.
probably not even on the list either, is developing a relationship with the client.
Oh, no, actually, I would say that's probably close to the top.
Good, good.
It really is. Yeah, absolutely. And I work with myself. I mean, I am my own company in as
Okay.
much as I don't have buyer's agents or listing agents. I am all of it put together. I am associated with the Cummings and Company Realtors in our Columbia office.
Mm-hmm.
My broker is Dave Cummings, who has the company, uh, and that's what we need to do. I'm not
Sure.
my own broker or anything, but I am not a partnership or an LLC. I am sole proprietor, I guess is the best way to put it, or self. As we've learned in the past year of all of the different PPPs and what have you, forms that have needed to be filled out, an independent contractor, I guess is
Mm-hmm.
what I'm really considered. Yeah.
Okay, okay. So when we call you, we're going to be talking to you.
Yes,
We're
that's right.
excellent.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Which means that I don't have 10, 15, 20 transactions going on at the same time. I could not handle that,
Mm-hmm.
quite frankly. I need to keep it at a level where I am in touch with everybody.
Sure.
So, yeah, that's my choice.
Mm-hmm. So you bring
Yep.
a very personal touch to what you do.
Yes, exactly. Right.
So during this last year, you said you've had time to gain certifications, and wondering
Hmm.
where do you see things now as far as you? I know I'm sure certain that when you're meeting with clients, you're taking all the proper precautions health wise, but
Yeah.
as far as this changing situation we're in, the market is in the real estate market in this area. I've heard different things. I've heard it's a seller's market, it's a buyer's market. I mean, is there such a thing?
There is very much such a thing, especially in Howard County. We have seen, especially since the first of the year, such activity that I haven't seen it since 2006
Oh
when
wow.
everything was just crazy. Fortunately, we are in a different environment that, yes, properties are selling very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
I sold my own house in 2 hours.
Oh my.
But fortunately, I was in the business and I was working with a seasoned agent, so we could and then settle in 10 days. So, that worked. But
Wow. Sure does.
right now, in March the 31st, 2020, what I'm seeing is practically every property that is being listed for sale, and I check it several times a day. The pendings are coming up that they probably showed up on the multiple list as a coming soon property, meaning that you could advertise it, but you couldn't have it shown by any buyer, shown to any buyers.
Mm-hmm.
That people are writing offers sight unseen.
Wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, you, it's interesting, and that's what happened in 2006. I mean, people were writing contracts on the hub of their car.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be understand what we're doing. The agents have to understand what they're doing. But
Mm-hmm.
the good part is the mortgage industry is much more strict with their guidelines of who can buy a property, whereas in 2006, there was hardly any reliable guidance for
Mm-hmm.
giving somebody a mortgage. So people were buying when they should not have purchased.
I'm very glad to hear there are more constraints because that leads to
Absolutely.
all sorts of problems.
Absolutely. So that's probably a blessing of, if anything, that's a true blessing. The interest rates are wonderfully low. Um,
Mm-hmm.
3.25, 3 1/8, maybe 3.5. I read Inman and a couple of other current facts each day, and it looks like interest rates are going to increase, maybe slowly, but
Mm-hmm.
January it was under 3%. Today it's 3 1/8, 3.25, 3.5.
Okay.
Who can complain? When you
Absolutely.
think about it, I mean,
Absolutely.
when I was early in this industry, some of the interest rates were 18%. The only thing selling was an adjustable VA loan
Mm-hmm.
house, really. So
Yeah.
we're at a great place. The public recognizes that. The buyers recognize that. So they are out in full force. It's just the sellers that have decided to stay. Maybe they decided to age in place.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they are not interested in going out and having craziness about purchasing right now.
Sure.
It will calm down. It really will. But right now, I would say yes, it's a seller's market.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
We do not plan to sell. That
Yeah.
is not part of the plan. We've
Well,
actually,
that's good.
this is our 14th home, 14th address since we got married. But we've been in
Wow.
this house, it'll be 14 years in June. So that tells you
That's
what
good.
happened the first 19 years of
Sure. Oh,
married
yeah.
life. Well, maybe. So,
You know,
well,
the interesting thing is that so I moved to Columbia the first summer and have, so we're called pioneers, and a lot of us stay in touch with each other. I have to tell you that it's amazing how many of those first year people, first year, year and a half. So let's say 2000, no, let's try that. 1968 houses started to be moved into. So
hmm
we moved in 67. Houses were starting to be under construction. And by 1968, Bryant Woods and Faulkner Ridge, Longfellow, those neighborhoods were being built in Columbia. Some of
hmm
those people are still in those homes.
sure.
So they are aging in place. And good
They
for them.
are. They are. Now, my
Absolutely.
mother-in-law's been in her home. It's in West Friendship, but for
Hmm.
52 years.
Sure.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
Well,
great.
Carol, thank you so much for this chance to talk about real estate and what's important in learning, finding the right agent and helping so you can help your clients find the right home.
Well, thank you. And I am really available to talk to people if they need to talk about that and need help. I would love to do it.
Terrific. We'll have your contact information and everything on this page. And I
Great.
just thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Absolutely. Have a great day.